Business Employment Dynamics, 3rd Quarter 2022. For release 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Wednesday, April 26, 2023. From June 2022 to September 2022, gross job gains from opening and expanding private sector establishments were 8.8 million, an increase of 561,000 jobs from the previous quarter, the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics reported today. Over this period, gross job losses from closing and contracting private sector establishments were 7.5 million, a decrease of 1.0 million jobs from the previous quarter. The difference between the number of gross job gains and the number of gross job losses yielded a net employment gain of 1.3 million jobs in the private sector during the 3rd quarter of 2022. See Chart 1 and Tables A in 1. Chart 1. Total private sector gross job gains and gross job losses, seasonally adjusted. March 2012 to September 2022. The change in the number of jobs over time is the net result of increases and decreases in employment that occur at all private businesses in the economy. Business Employment Dynamics, BED, statistics track these changes in employment at private sector establishments from the 3rd month of one quarter to the 3rd month of the next. The difference between the number of gross job gains and the number of gross job losses is the net change in employment. See Technical Note. The Business Employment Dynamics data series include gross job gains and gross job losses by industry subsector for the 50 states, the District of Columbia, Puerto Rico, and the Virgin Islands, as well as gross job gains and gross job losses at the firm level by employer size class. Gross job gains. In the 3rd quarter of 2022, gross job gains represented 6.8% of private sector employment. Gross job gains are the sum of increases in employment due to expansions at existing establishments and the addition of new jobs at opening establishments. Gross job gains at expanding establishments totaled 7.1 million in the 3rd quarter of 2022, an increase of 539,000 jobs compared to the previous quarter. Opening establishments accounted for 1.7 million of the jobs gained in the 3rd quarter of 2022, an increase of 22,000 jobs from the previous quarter. See Charts 2 and 3, and Tables A, 1, 2, and 3. Chart 2. Private sector gross job gains at expanding establishments and gross job losses at contracting establishments, seasonally adjusted, March 2012 to September 2022. Chart 3. Private sector gross job gains at opening establishments and gross job losses at closing establishments, seasonally adjusted, March 2012 to September 2022. Gross job losses. In the 3rd quarter of 2022, gross job losses represented 5.8% of private sector employment. Gross job losses are the result of contractions in employment at existing establishments and the loss of jobs at closing establishments. Contracting establishments lost 6.0 million jobs in the 3rd quarter of 2022, a decrease of 528,000 jobs from the prior quarter. In the 3rd quarter of 2022, closing establishments lost 1.6 million jobs, a decrease of 500,000 jobs from the previous quarter. See Charts 2 and 3, and Tables A, 1, 2, and 3. Establishment births and deaths. In the 3rd quarter of 2022, the number of establishment births, a subset of the openings data, decreased by 13,000 to a total of 346,000 establishments. These new establishments accounted for 1.0 million jobs, a decrease of 18,000 jobs from the previous quarter. Data for establishment deaths, a subset of the closings data, are available through the 4th quarter of 2021, when 778,000 jobs were lost at 254,000 establishments, an increase of 44,000 jobs from the 3rd quarter of 2021. See Technical Note and Table 8. Table A. 3-month private sector gross job gains and losses, seasonally adjusted. Firm size. In the 3rd quarter of 2022, firms with 1 to 49 employees had a net employment increase of 34,000. Firms with 50 to 249 employees had a net employment gain of 249,000. Firms with 250 or more employees had a net employment increase of 1.1 million. See Tables 4 and 5. Industries. Gross job gains exceeded gross job losses in all 13 industry sectors in the third quarter of 2022. The service-providing industries experienced a net job gain of 1.2 million. The goods-producing industries had a net job increase of 129,000. See Table 3, States. Gross job gains surpassed gross job losses in 43 states, the District of Columbia, Puerto Rico, and the Virgin Islands in the third quarter of 2022. See Tables 6 and 7. For more information, additional information on gross job gains and gross job losses is available online at www.bls.gov/bdm. This information includes data for the levels and rates of gross job gains and gross job losses by firm size, not seasonally adjusted data and seasonally adjusted time series not presented in this release, charts of gross job gains and gross job losses by industry and firm size, and answers to frequently asked questions. Additional information about the business employment dynamics data can be found in the technical note of this release. The business employment dynamics for fourth quarter 2022 are scheduled to be released on Wednesday, July 26, 2023, at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.